Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the assessment guide for the blog post for BCM 215 Game Media Industries. Okay, let's get into it. So, the first blog post that you have to do for this subject is a speculative piece about how you might construct an analytical framework to analyze a game from before the year 2011. So this was a game that came out at least 10 years ago. So all you have to do in this blog post is to pick three concepts that form the basis of your analytical framework that you think you could analyze a game with. It's very simple. So your first concept, of course, could be the technique or the technology involved in the game. This could have to do with the platform that you're using. Maybe it's a Game Boy, maybe it's a PlayStation, maybe it's a PC. So you're looking at the technological affordances of that platform. Then you might start to think about genre. How were genres defined back in 2011? What genre or hybrid set of genres does your game fit in that year? So then you can also think about this concept of genre in relationship to the platform. For example, how is that genre limited by the technologies that were available at that time? So, for example, how does the genre of the platformer differentiate between the technologies available for a PC and the technologies available for a Game Boy? You then might like to add the concept of fandom. So you might like to look at fans of that game and think about if they exist now. Are there fans of that game that have, kind of kept that game alive? We see a really, and I will talk about this in the lectures, of course, right? A big interest in retro games and some games from the PlayStation era and of course, the early Nintendo 16-bit and 32-bit eras have quite a lot of value. So they're actually very expensive to get a hold of. So people turn to emulators. So you've got technology, right, involved in the fandom. You've got that fandom perhaps defined by the genre, right? Whether it's, it might be a side-scrolling fighter genre, right? And so now you've got this analytical framework that enables you to think about how you talk about one concept with regards to the other two. So this is speculative, right? You don't have to go into the analysis. You would just tell us how you would do the analysis. The second blog post is a little bit more in detail. And this is where you start to think about what it is that bad games teach us. So you might think of the worst game you've ever played. You might do a web search for examples of bad games. And how bad, how do you define the term bad, right? Is it a game that is not enjoyable? Is it a game that might be enjoyable but didn't sell well? How you define bad is up to you. And then how you use the idea of media archaeology to unpack what was going on at the time that game was created, what the technologies involved, as I said previously, what the platform, or maybe it's the interface, or maybe it's the hardware. Notoriously, right, the Nintendo Virtual Boy was the kind of first VR publicly available system, but it was so terrible because of the red screen, and right. So you start to get into the technologies. With media archaeology, you've got to remember that we're not really that interested in the content of the game, but the conditions into which that game was created, or the conditions that helped to create that game, the studio, the publisher, the cost, right? So really interesting topic, really cool, and looking forward to seeing what you come up with there. Blog post 3 will be a summary of your peer review feedback that you're providing to people who have done the pitch. And I'll do a separate video on how that works. Okay, blog post 4. This is where you're going to be picking particular concepts that we've talked about in the lectures, in the tutorials, in the readings, and really starting to dig into the analytical framework that you're going to be producing for your digital artifact. And blog post 5 is going to be a test analysis of the topic that you're using for your DA. So in blog post 5, you're going to be picking one of the concepts and applying that to the analysis. That way you'll be able to get public feedback for your analysis. You might be able to post it on Reddit, Facebook, and so on, and start getting public feedback about that. Start thinking about who the audience will be for that. You'll get feedback from your peers, and then you'll get feedback from us. So that will then help you build out your digital artifact. So it's kind of the beta really for your DA, which you'll then submit, of course, later in week 6, and then blog post 6 will be the peer review that you did for other people's beta. So the number one difference between, say, BCM 215 and 241 is that 215 has a central blog. And this is where students have been posting their blog posts for this subject for the last 5 years and more. So that's gamecultures.blog, and you will have got an invitation to access this blog. I took the emails that you supplied in the questionnaire, and I've sent you an invite to that. When it comes to reblogging, I'll show you how that works. So once you've posted your blog to your WordPress site, you then click on the title and make sure you have the post loaded in a separate page. You then scroll to the bottom where you will see 2 buttons. You will see the reblog button and the like button. If you do not see the reblog button, you need to go to wordpress.com and log out, and then log back in. If you still do not see the reblog button after you've logged back in, try and open it under a new browser or log into WordPress in incognito mode. Sometimes the cookies just mess up and you don't get the thing. So click on reblog, and then you will be able to choose here, and so you'll be able to choose Game Cultures, and then click reblog post. So I might as well do that. And now, if we go to Game Cultures, we can see the post appears on the website, and it's that easy. All right. So once you've reblogged your posts and you have the 3 posts and you're ready to submit the assessment, you will need the cover sheet. The cover sheet is in the Moodle page. It's under the assessment materials folder at the top of the Moodle page, and your work won't be assessed without this cover sheet. So download that, add your name, add your tutor, put your signature here. We don't use Turnitin, but we do ask you to say that this is your own work. And you can then see a detailed instruction for the cover sheet. This is the same instruction that is in the Moodle post. You please do note that you are expected to create original audio video for your posts. This is as simple as I said, in previous videos. This is just where you can just create your blog post, and then you can read your post to the screen, or you might capture some video game content and read over the top of that, or you might even borrow some videos from other people, download that, give them credit, and record your audio over that. If you're looking for the high distinction, in the subject, we are looking for, extra research, particularly scholarly works. There's a lot in terms of game studies material. If you don't know where to find that, let me know on Discord. I'm doing, kind of 3 weekly hangouts on Discord at the moment each week. More than happy to help you find materials to expand your research. You should have links to your references. Although if you want to put Harvard style, that's fine. You need to think about your audience, right? You're trying to connect to an external audience. You're trying to make academic and scholarly style analysis available to a public audience. Okay. Please indicate the kind of feedback you want. A lot of students just want a grade. That's totally fine. A lot of students just want a grade and rubric. That's also good. If you want the grade, the rubric, and a short comment section, just delete the sections here that you don't want. Please submit this as a Word document. Don't submit it as a PDF. It makes it harder to write feedback on it. Add the links to your blog posts here, and then make sure you check out the assessment criteria. So number one, the degree of conformity with the learning assessment task instructions. So make sure you know what's required of you and that you're meeting those requirements. Including the post should engage with the weekly subject lectures in a variety of ways, right? You're trying to demonstrate your knowledge. It's pretty simple. Assessment criteria 2, quality, consistency, and sophistication of the posts, and I've got an explanation of what that is there. Assessment criteria 3, the structure and organization, right? The coherence of the expression. So, how accessible is it? How understandable is it? And then assessment quality 4, the demonstration of high-level digital literacies. So do note that if you are doing BCM 241, that these are different assessment criteria. We are looking for slightly different things in each subject. Even though the tasks are similar, the assessment criteria are different. So make sure you pay attention to that. But the requirements are very similar. They're just assessed slightly differently. Okay. If you have any questions, seriously, we've had some great Hangout sessions on Discord. I've been able to help students with their analysis, thinking about the analytical frameworks, going into more detail on the concepts, even just showing students how to categorize and tag their posts. Some students don't know how to do that. So, jump into those sessions, keep an eye on Souls and the Discord, and I'll announce when they're coming up. Looking forward to seeing your work, and I'll talk to you in the next video.